Hey everyone, welcome to The Daily. I'm Greg Lawless. Today is Thursday, May 19th, and we're going to be starting by looking at some of the broader competitions taking place right now outside of the MLS regular season. We're going to start out in Vancouver, where the Whitecaps hosted Toronto FC in the first leg of the Nutrilite Canadian Championship final. The match ended 1-1. It was a goal from Eric Osley for Vancouver, but Maicon Santos got the equalizer a couple of minutes later. The match was pretty much dominated by the Whitecaps. They hit the woodwork 2 or 3 times. Stefan Fry from Toronto FC had to come up with several big saves, but in the end, the Reds get the result they need heading into the second leg next week back in Toronto. Considering some of the struggles and some of the disappointments for Toronto head coach Aaron Vinter in this season, his first season with the club, he came out of this one saying, "We didn't play well, but we got a good result." It's a sort of a reversal from some of the things he's probably said most recently about the club. Again, the second leg will be next Wednesday at BMO Field in Toronto. Now, the winner of the Nutrilite Canadian Championship moves on to the CONCACAF Champions League. Speaking of the CCL, yesterday in New York, CONCACAF held the draw to determine who will get into the group stages in the qualifiers. It's a 2-leg qualifying series, with the first leg to be played July 26th through the 28th. Now, there are 3 MLS teams involved in the qualifiers. Obviously, the winner of the Canadian Championship, either Vancouver or Toronto, they will take on a qualifier from Nicaragua, still to be determined. Another MLS team involved, FC Dallas, they face against Alianza from El Salvador. And lastly, the Seattle Sounders back into the Champions League, and they have to take on San Francisco of Panama. Well, despite the Sounders finding out who their opponent will be in the Champions League, a lot of the talk up in Seattle was still about the war of words going on between the Timbers and the Sounders. Of course, earlier in the week, John Spencer, the head coach for Portland, coming out with some choice words for the way the Sounders played, and some of the players even from the Sounders saying guys like Morales and Brad Evans wouldn't even make his starting lineup. Well, Ziggy Schmidt from the Seattle Sounders had a retort, basically saying 3 days after the game, 4 days after the game, and the Timbers are still talking about it. They haven't been able to move on. He found that rather interesting. And of course, the goalkeeper for the Seattle Sounders, Casey Keller, the wily veteran, having the final word in all of it most likely, saying the Sounders have made the playoffs, they've won the Open Cup, and they've had huge crowds. Thinks it all speaks for itself. That's it for The Daily today, but don't forget, later on you can download the Extra Time Radio podcast. We will be talking about the Super Classico coming up this weekend between Chivas USA and the LA Galaxy. You can get it on iTunes or Buzzsprout. Join us.